Good morning, everyone. Welcome to service. Please be seated. Nikaya 3 Refuges. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. gacchami. Sangam saranam gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. Mahayana Refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers, for the lineage of teachers before them. I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, and may their vows be completely realized. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that is never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. The reading will be the 7 wise women in the charnel grounds. You can find it at your seats. Seven wise sisters planned a spring journey. One said, "Sisters, instead of going to a park to enjoy the spring flowers, let's go together to see the charnel grounds." The other said, "That place is full of decaying corpses. What is such a place good for?" The first woman replied, "Let's just go. Very good things are there." When they arrived, one of them pointed to a corpse and said, "There is a person's body. Where has the person gone?" "What?" another said. "What did you say?" And all 7 sisters were immediately enlightened. Indra, Lord of the gods, was moved by their awakening and showered flowers down onto them. He offered them whatever they needed for the rest of their lives. One of the sisters replied, "We have everything we need, but please give us a tree without roots, some land without light or shade, and a mountain valley where a shout does not echo." "Ask anything else, holy ladies," replied Indra, "and I will gladly provide it. But I don't have those things to give you." "If you don't have them," said the woman, "how can you help others liberate themselves?" At this, Indra took the sisters to visit the Buddha. When the Buddha learned why they had come, he said, "As far as that's concerned, Indra, none of the arahants has the slightest clue either. Only great bodhisattvas understand this matter." Gatha on opening the sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound.
So everyone can turn and face this way. We'll face your
So we're still dealing with returning from our COVID retreat. So things are a little rusty. Are we good? Yeah, things are a little rusty. It's good. It's good. It keeps it fresh and new. And that really is our practice. This endless spring, fresh and new. So I think we should just sit for a few minutes. How's that? Not too long, just kind of. Lovely. So we are entering into a period called Ango, and Ango translates as peaceful dwelling. So we were just doing a little practice of that peaceful dwelling. And for some of us, we may not have been feeling like we were very peaceful while we were sitting, right? But what we're practicing is that peaceful container that holds it all, regardless of what the contents of the mind are. That's sort of step one. And then step two is that we settle into that and we trust that container of peaceful dwelling. And eventually we begin to see that the peaceful dwelling and the kind of crazy that's going on, are actually the same, of the same nature. And when we realize that fact, our lives radically change. We're spontaneously a little kinder, a little bit more loving, a little bit more able to handle the dukkha, the distress of just being alive. So that's what we're practicing for the next 3 months. And Ango started in India with the Buddha's ordained Sangha. And I'll just make a little note. There were no women in this particular Sangha that was wandering around begging for food and practicing the Dharma. During the really rainy seasons, when it was too difficult to be wandering around, the monks would gather, and they would gather in caves, and they would use that time to, of course, practice more, but also to listen to each other's teachings and to polish each other in debate and so forth and so on. Now, we have to actually look at the reason why there were no women there and kind of the reverberation of that through time as it's come down to us. I want to start a little bit at the end of the story, where we are today, and then we'll head back. So, every once in a while in history, there are these sort of radical breaks of tradition. And one of the things that happened when the Dharma came to the West is that women were given full access, equal access to the Dharma. And that started in earnest, I would say, in the 1960s. There were a few women pioneers, Ruth Fuller Sasaki in the Rinzai tradition. And of course, what we have now today is that, in fact, there are more women Dharma teachers in America than there are men. So, a lot has changed since the Buddha first ordained his Sangha. That's the first point. The second point is just in general, when we're studying history, which is really important to know where we came from, is that we can't be held prisoner to that history. And we have to use that knowledge to step forward. And this is a very important point that Yuval Harari was making even today with our situation in the world, saying, you know, Germany cannot be held hostage to its past history. And the Germans of today are not the Germans of the last century. They've changed. They've evolved. And we too have changed and evolved as a Sangha and as a community. And someone asked me, in case you haven't figured out, the topic of the Anga was women in Buddhism. Someone asked me during the retreat, you know, where I stood with all of this women studying the Buddhist, studying the Dharma today. And I want to put out front what my particular position is, there are many, right? As far as I can see, as far as my consciousness sees up until now, there is only one Dharma, and there is only one practice of the Buddha Dharma, which shows up in myriad ways and in myriad bodies. Some female, some male. But I use the analogy of the equestrian sports in the Olympics, that the cross-country, show jumping, and dressage is the only sport where women and men, boy horses and girl horses too, compete on a total equal footing. And I like to think that we're a stable of fine, fine horses and fine, fine riders. Nay, even great bodhisattva riders. So this retreat, we looked at these women's awakening story, and it was an incredible experience. Many, I would say everybody in the retreat had a pretty significant opening. And the koan that we worked on was the koan that we just read together. This, when I think about women in the Dharma, this is what we want to celebrate. This is what we want to, this is the world that we want to step into, this world of making awakening so much easier and so much more possible. So we're going to get the down and dirty stuff out of the way, and we can all shed a little tear, because it's kind of not a great story. So let's see. Let's start at the very beginning. So when the Buddha was born, soon after his mother died, and his aunt, so his mother's sister, took care of him. And her name was the Mahaprajnapati. Buddha also had a cousin, I'm not sure if it's from Mahaprajnapati or another aunt, named Ananda. And both Mahaprajnapati and Ananda are characters in this story. I just wanted to situate them in the family. How interesting that this, right at the start of Buddhism, is this family style, right? And we certainly have that here at the temple. So, roll the story forward. Buddha's under the tree. He has his awakening experience, and monks, practitioners, curious, start to gather around him. And they say, hey, we'd like to stay with you. We want to know what you know. Can we stay? And he said, yes, you can stay. And he ordained these men that were following him. Now, at the time, he was very close to his aunt, Mahaprajnapati, and of course she was with them as well. And she said, hey, Buddha, what about us? What about the women? And he said, no, absolutely not. Now, there are historic, political, and sociological reasons for that. I think we're going to just set them aside and just listen to the story. We can all imagine Hindu Indian society 2,500 years ago and how women were treated. Just, I guess, perhaps to know that to be born in a woman's body in ancient India meant that you had a lower rebirth. And you were not, inherently not as capable as a man. Of course, that is redressed very much with our lovely white Tara, who vowed that she would always be reborn a woman and always attain enlightenment in a woman's form. Which, by the way, is one of the reasons why she's up there above the Buddha. We're redressing the balance a little bit, right? So anyway, Buddha says no, and Mahaprajnapati, I'm sure, is like, I fed this kid. I changed this kid's diapers. What the heck? I taught him how to read. I taught him how to eat, right? I put him to bed at night. I read his bedtime stories. I washed his clothes, whatever. So she's not taking no for an answer, right? And she goes to Ananda. Now, Ananda is, again, another relation close to the Buddha, and says, hey, I can't get through to him, but can you try? And Ananda says, yes, of course. I recognize you as a fellow practitioner. So Ananda goes to the Buddha and says, can you ordain the women into the Sangha? And the Buddha says, no. And then Ananda asks again, please, can you ordain the women in the Sangha? And the Buddha says, no. Ananda asks a third time, and the Buddha says no again. So he was really pretty adamant that he didn't want women ordained in the Sangha. Now he goes back to Mahaprajnapati, and they both put their heads together and say, hey, hold on a second here. We are not taking no for an answer, right? So Mahaprajnapati says, let's ask a slightly different question. Go and ask him, oh, by the way, after three, if you ask the Buddha something 3 times, and the Buddha says no, that's it. You cannot ask that question anymore. So they have to come up with a different question. And this is their different question. Can women become enlightened? So Ananda goes to the Buddha and says, I have a different question. So I get 3 times, 3 shots at this different question, right? And he says to the Buddha, can women be enlightened? And the Buddha says, yes. Wow. Right? Yes. Of course, because humans are humans are humans, right? Some in male form, some in female form. So what we're really left with is, he was saying no probably for reasons other than just purely sort of like, if you can say, spiritual reasons. He knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that everybody, just by being born, just by your birthright, could attain awakening, could attain the enlightenment that he had. So he was in a little bit of a jam here, because he had said no and yes simultaneously, right? So he had to resolve this. And he resolved it in a way that really sort of tumbled through history, 2,500 years worth of history. And I'm going to read to you a little bit about how he resolved it. Okay. You can be ordained nuns, as nuns, women, but there are 8 special rules. Number 1, a nun, even of 100 years standing, shall respectfully greet, rise up in the presence of, bow down before, and perform all proper duties toward a monk ordained even one day. Number 2, a nun is not to spend the rainy season in a district where there is no monk. So a nun is not to spend the Ango in a district where there is no monk. You cannot be on your own. Number 3, every half moon, a nun is to await 2 things from the order of monks: the date of the communal confession of faults or violations of monastic code, and the time monks will come to give teachings. So the men will be your confessor and your teacher. Number 4, after the rains retreat, after Ango, the nuns are to hold an inquiry into whether any faults have been committed before both sanghas, that of the monks and that of the nuns, in respect to what has been seen, what has been heard, and what has been suspected. So they're living very much in community and all of the trials and tribulations and little groups and going on, right? Number 5, a nun who has been guilty of a serious offense must undergo discipline before both sanghas, that of the monks and that of the nuns. Number 6, when a novice is trained for 2 years in the 6 precepts, the first 5 precepts plus the precept of taking 1 meal a day before noon, she should seek ordination from both sanghas. So you can see women are doing double duty under the foot of the subjugation to masculine power. A nun is not to revile or abuse a monk under any circumstance. I'm sure the definition of that stretched in all kinds of directions. Admonition of monks by nuns is forbidden. Admonition of nuns by monks is not forbidden. So a monk can correct a nun at any time, and the nun can never correct a monk. So it's a little grim, right? It's not, there's no way we put up with that right now, right? There's no way. So what ends up happening, of course, is the nuns are like subjugated second-class citizens, and they never get the kind of social and political and economic traction that the monks do, because they just don't have the power. They don't have especially the power to teach. Now what's interesting, and I've said this before, when I was doing my scroll for the transmission ceremony, there's one other woman on that scroll, and that is Jiyu Kennett, who was the first Western woman to receive Dharma transmission from a Japanese Roshi. And that was in the 60s. Not that long ago. And we will be hearing her story This Ango, Suise is going to be reading along with Suise her autobiography on Facebook, I think, yeah? Okay, and then we've got a few books. So we've got this book, Zen Women, Beyond Tea Ladies, Iron Maidens, and Macho Masters. We've got a book of poems by Macho Masters, yeah, that one. You might be the butt of a few jokes this Ango.
Yes, dear.
I don't think it's the Hidden Lamp, which we got that koan from, and another book of poems by Rengetsu. And we're going to be having one of our ordaining teacher, Melissa Blacker-Roshi, give a teaching on Iron Grindstone Lu, who is a famous woman in the Zen lore. We're going to have Dosho Port do a teaching on the Enmei Kannon Gyo Sutra, and he's got a slightly different translation, so it'll be really interesting to see how that lands for us. And finally, we'll be doing a White Tara workshop. And as I mentioned earlier, White Tara is actually a full, complete Buddha. She's got all the mojo, all the accomplishments, and more. And she's very much our patron Buddha, if you will, here at the temple. So we'll be doing a workshop. We will be sort of introduced to her, and she will show us her wild, incredible, amazing power, especially for healing and longevity. So that's kind of the Ango in a nutshell. It should be really good. Of course, I think there's going to be some kind of a transmission ceremony in the middle of it. I almost forgot. So, yeah, a woman from this Sangha has her name on that transmission document. And there will be many more women from this Sangha with their name on that transmission document. And I think we also have a grand opening ceremony in there too. So it's going to be like a wild ride. Get ready. You're going to be here like, pretty much every day. No, seriously, you got to pick and choose what you want to do. And don't feel guilty if you can't do everything. But, try to come as much as you can. All right. Thank you.
People some guidance to
Yes, if everyone could please stand and turn to page 6. And we're beginning the process to sign the Inzo to draw the Inzo and sign the Inzo for our Ango practice this next 3 months. And
Can we have a little stretch break?
yes, please, everyone, if you could just take a few minutes to stretch.
Your liturgy books are tucked under your cushions, and if you don't find one under your cushion, check a nearby cushion.
Inme juku kanangyo kanze anamu butsuyo butsu inyo butsu in buko so in jo rakuga jo chonin kanze an bonin kanze an nin nin jushin ki nin nin furishin kanze an namu butsuyo butsu inyo butsu in buko so in jo rakuga jo chonin kanze an bonin kanze an nin nin jushin ki nin nin furishin kanze an namu butsu butsu in yo butsu in bopo so in jo rakuga jo chonin kanze an bonin kanze an nin nin jushin ki nin nin furishin absorbing world sounds awakens a Buddha right here, this Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices. In the light recall this, in the dark recall this. Moment after moment, the true heart arises. Time after time, there is nothing but this absorbing world sounds awakens a Buddha right here. This Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. heart arises. Time after time, there is nothing but this absorbing world. Sounds awakens a Buddha right here. This Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices in the light and time. Call this in the dark, recall this moment after moment. The true heart arises. Time after time, there is nothing but this absorbing world. Sounds awakens a Buddha right here. This Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices. In the light recall this, in the dark recall this. Moment after moment, the true heart arises. Time after time, there is nothing but this absorbing world. Sounds awakens a Buddha right here. This Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices. In the light recall this, in the dark recall this. Moment after moment, the true heart arises. Time after time, there is nothing but this absorbing world. Sounds awakens a Buddha right here. This Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices. In the light recall this, in the dark recall this. Moment after moment, the true heart arises. Time after time, there is nothing but this absorbing world. Sounds awakens a Buddha right here. This Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices. In the light recall this, in the dark recall this. Moment after moment, the true heart arises. Time after time, there is nothing but this absorbing world. Sounds awakens a Buddha right here. This Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices. In the light recall this, in the dark recall this. Moment after moment, the true heart arises. Time after time, there is nothing but this absorbing world. Sounds awakens a Buddha right here. This Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, the dark recall this moment after moment. The true heart arises time after time. There is nothing but this. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All it is, and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the 6 worlds and dedicate it in grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the Great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to Angie, Ransui, Sarakar Kier, and to those whose names we hold in the silence of our hearts, as well as those whose names we voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. That concludes our Anga opening service. May we practice well. And as we say, I believe you're going to begin with announcements.
Sure, we have just a couple of announcements.
The most important is that a critical part of Ango for those who are participating is to get a red thread. Reverend Kaishin and the novices will be available after service. We'll form some lines and we can give you your Ango thread. For anyone who's watching online, who is not here in person, you have been sent or will soon be sent in the mail a red thread, and if you don't get connected with one, let us know. So we'll form lines right after service to hand out the red threads. Also, as Reverend Doa mentioned, Melissa Blacker-Roshi will be doing a teaching in just 13 days, so not next Saturday, but the Saturday after. All temple members are welcome, and it's a great opportunity too. We're going to have members of Melissa Roshi's Sangha and Dosho Port Roshi's Sangha potentially joining us online. Members are welcome to gather here in person. There's flyers about that. There's also so many other Ango activities. We sent you all an email, if you're a member, about all the activities, and it's up on our website. If you have any questions about it or want to see what the full menu is so you can plan your next couple months, check it out. Hope to see you there for as much as possible. Sangha Circle signups will be coming soon also as part of Ango. Last announcement, we'd really like to get a photo of the Sangha for anyone who's willing to be a little closer together. If not, that's fine. Up by the altar, and then we'll have one with the whole Sangha, and then we'll have the men step out and get one with just the ladies of the Sangha. So we want to do that right now while people are still in robes. So let's take a picture, and Secho's going to take the picture, I think. He might have missed the memo.
Where'd that try?
One more announcement.
Guardian Council would like to remind you really quick that Doksan is starting back again at the regular services Wednesday evening and Thursday morning. And if you've never been, this is a really great chance to try it out. And just go say hi. You don't have to have a question. If you do have a question, it's a great time to bring it. And hope to see you there. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, we've got one more announcement.
If you were at session, don't forget your bowls.
There you go.
So those of us who've been used to having to go outside as quickly as possible because of COVID, there is coffee and tea service available afterwards in the outer area.
Okay, thank you. Photo, and then please restore the Zendo.
You guys want to sit on these?
Okay, all right. That's my strategy. That's also saturated.
Okay, we might need to rotate the photo a little bit afterwards. We say it's got a little bit.
trust you, Secho.
The tripod's a little wonky. And let me just push a few things out of the way and we're good to go.
I'm not sure, is it balanced with Kaishin standing?
I could have done
Oh, there, is that better?
Are you okay?
one last one.
Who knows where Secho's going?
Okay, we're
Do we need to bring it in a little bit?
I'm going right there. All right. And one more for posterity, good measure. and then just the.
Women of the Sun.
She's in the
Alright.
the girls put it in the work. Okay, let's rebalance a little. Okay, we got Someone's coming. Good morning.
I know, you've been hurt.
We got
lines. I'm so my lines
Can you go over that?
that crimes.
And so. All right, everyone right on in. Are you smiling? Oh, that's a bad thing.
Don't take them.
It's inappropriate to say it. I'm so sorry. Sorry. First mistake. I got 4.
We should all cry.
One more.
All right.
Got it?
We didn't know you were taking.
Oh, okay, smile now. There we go. Definitely taking the picture.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Good job,
He
ladies.
announces it when he's in it.
All right, we got red threads. So, come on up. So restore the Zendo and come on up and get a thread. So,
Are you trying to?
yes. There are. All right.